Chapter 485. Damn it, Feng Yicheng cursed. The silver dragons are truly greedy to have humiliated Brother Li and Madam Li to such an extent. I can't just stand by and watch. I've decided to send some warriors to help them right away. Brother Thunderbolt, what do you think? Of course I won't stand by and watch either, Thunderbolt said, standing up. That's right. By Thunderbolt's side, Lai Yun added, Miss Yun has done us a great favor, so how could we not help her? But how are we supposed to get to the extreme abyss continent? As they spoke, they all looked at Yun Maxiao. Yun Maxiao hadn't expected that after wasting so much time talking, he wouldn't be able to convince Thunderbolt and Thunderbolt. It was clear that Feng Yicheng and Thunderbolt were people who valued friendship. All right, I thank you on behalf of my sister and brother-in-law. Yun Maxiao cupped his fists. When you're ready, we'll set off. Someone will break through the void to welcome us to the extreme abyss continent. Back on the extreme abyss continent, Yun Ruo and Qiuqiu were rushing in the direction of Dragon Castle. Finally, they saw two silver-armored guards of Dragon Castle protecting Yin Shao. Qiuqiu stopped them. Yun Ruoyan patted Qiuqiu's head. Qiuqiu let out an angry roar and its already fast speed increased once more. Yin Shao was about to return to the Dragon Castle under the protection of two guards. Just when he could finally relax after 2 days of anxiety, he suddenly heard a deafening roar of a beast behind him. The three of them hurriedly turned around to take a look. But in that brief moment, Qiuqiu had already appeared in front of them like a bolt of lightning. Who are you and what do you want? Yin Shao roared angrily and fearfully at Yun Ruoyan. Yun Ruoyan had pretended to be a holy maiden to lure him out of the Dragon Castle, then imprisoned him and fed him a highly toxic bone-softening powder. As the only descendant of the first elder of the Silver Dragon clan, Yin Shao had been a powerful figure since birth. No one had ever dared to treat him so disrespectfully, but this beautiful woman in front of him had not only dared to treat him this way, but even his father, the Silver Dragon, in such a manner. Furthermore, Yun Ruoyan and Qiuqiu's auras were far more powerful than the three of them. This only made Yin Shao even more afraid. I want you to pay your debt. Yun Ruoyan's anger towards Yin Long unavoidably landed on Yin Shao. Her father was already in Yin Zhao's hands and now Xiao Liyan was in his hands. Yun Ruoyan couldn't tolerate such anger and didn't want to tolerate it. What your father owes me, I'll collect some interest from you. As soon as Yun Ruoyan finished speaking, Qiuqiu carried her and pounced toward the three of them. The two guards immediately took out their weapons and slashed at Qiuqiu. Yun Ruoyan killed one of them with a single slash, while the other was buried in Qiuqiu's jaws. Silver Howl, who had already been weakened by the paralysis, was now a pile of mush in Yun Ruoyan's hands. Don't kill me. My father's the first elder of the Silver Dragons and he has a lot of treasures. He'll give you anything you want as long as you don't kill me. Silver Howl begged Yun Ruoyan to spare his life. Humph. Yun Ruoyan snorted. Young master, I'm afraid you've overestimated your importance to the Silver Dragon clan. If anything happens to my son, I'll cut you and your father into 1,000 pieces. Yun Ruoyan picked up Yin Shao and sped back toward the Dragon Castle. You have to wait for mother to save you. You have to wait. In the palace of the Holy Maiden, a few other elders of the Silver Dragon clan were respectfully inviting the Holy Maiden to the shrine to perform the ritual. Didn't we just perform the ritual? The Holy Maiden asked curiously. Yun Ruoyan had instructed her to use her identity as the Holy Maiden to enter the shrine and see if she could destroy the blood array while the first elder wasn't in the castle. However, before she could do so, a few elders who rarely showed themselves had come to invite her to the shrine to perform the ritual. This is an order from the first elder, the second elder replied leisurely. I hope you won't disobey the first elder's orders. After 10,000 years of rule, the Silver Dragon clan's orders were even more effective than before. The Holy Maiden had no choice but to follow the elders to the shrine. Let him follow me. As they exited the palace, the Holy Maiden pointed at a warrior standing by the door. The few elders saw that the warrior was extremely thin and had a sickly appearance. In addition, the Holy Maiden had a precedent of letting someone accompany her, so no one stopped her. All right, you may follow the Holy Maiden, the second elder said. The warrior bowed slightly, then followed behind the Holy Maiden. This was none other than Zhou Yifeng, who had escaped from the demon spirit not long ago. Because his body had been extremely weak at the beginning, Yun Ruoyan had left him in the courtyard to recuperate. That day when Yun Ruoyan and Liemo had rushed to the courtyard, Zhou Yifeng had been hiding in a corner. When he heard about Li Yan's abduction, he had followed the demon spirit's route into the castle. Zhou Yifeng had searched the castle for a long time, but he hadn't found a single trace of Li Yan. Just as he was at a loss, Zhou Yifeng remembered that Yun Ruoyan and Liemo had mentioned the Holy Maiden. He had disguised himself as a warrior and gone to the Holy Maiden's palace, revealing his identity to her in hopes that she would help him find Li Yan's whereabouts. This had happened only last night, and before the Holy Maiden had had a chance to act, someone had come to invite her. The Holy Maiden had brought Zhou Yifeng along with her. When everyone arrived at the Holy Palace, the Saintess and Zhou Yifeng saw a palace maid waiting in the Holy Palace with a baby in her arms. The Holy Maiden had never seen Li Yan before, but she could guess who it was. She turned around to look at Zhou Yifeng and saw that his eyes were shining as he stared at the baby. She knew that it was Li Yan. "Elders, why is there a child here?" the Holy Maiden asked, pointing at Li Yan. Li Yan had just turned 1 year old and he was held tightly in the arms of a maid. Although he didn't cry or make a fuss, his large bright eyes were like a deer's as he looked around. When the Holy Maiden pointed at him, he quietly looked back at her. "This child has quite a background," the second elder said solemnly. "According to the first elder, this child has the bloodlines of both demonic and silver dragons, making him an excellent material for refining holy water." The first elder left a message for the Holy Maiden to place the baby in the blood array as the eye of the array. "What did you say?" The Holy Maiden thought that she'd misheard. "What did the first elder say?" The second elder slowly repeated what he'd just said. The Holy Maiden looked at Li Yan, her heart trembling. No one present knew more about the terrifying existence of the blood array than she did. The first elder had actually asked her to place a baby in the blood array. Just thinking about it made the Holy Maiden's entire body go numb. "I can't do it." The Holy Maiden directly refused. "Don't you know what the blood array is? I can't do such a cruel thing as putting a baby in it." "This is the order of the first elder." The second elder's tone was still unhurried, as if the Holy Maiden's refusal did not matter much to him. "I don't think I need to tell the Holy Maiden the consequences of disobeying the first elder's order. I can't do this." The Holy Maiden said, "When the first elder comes back, I will bear all the consequences myself." After the Holy Maiden finished speaking, she turned around and was about to leave, but she saw 2 warriors coming over with Mammy Li. The second elder's voice sounded again. "When the first elder left, he had already guessed that you would do this. He left a message. If you don't agree, he'll kill Mammy Li in front of you." "You." The Holy Maiden trembled with anger. "You people are infuriating. Aren't you afraid of retribution?" The second elder sighed and said, "I'm following the order of the first elder. I hope the Holy Maiden can understand. Mammy Li and the Holy Maiden have always been close. I hope the Holy Maiden can take care of this old servant." The Holy Maiden glanced at Mammy Li, who was in the hands of the warriors, and then looked at Li Yan. In the end, she could only turn back. She walked to the side of the shrine and pressed the switch. The door leading to the underground blood array slowly opened. Zhou Yifeng also clenched his fists tightly, but the warriors around him were all at the same cultivation level as him. Even if he burst out now, he would be killed. The second elder took Li Yan from the maidservant and held him in his arms. Then he walked to the side of the Holy Maiden and said, "Holy Maiden, please." Before entering the secret passage, the Holy Maiden glanced at Zhou Yifeng standing aside and motioned him to follow her. Then she walked into the secret passage. Perhaps because Zhou Yifeng looked too weak, the second elder didn't raise any objection when he followed the Holy Maiden into the secret passage. Just as the 3 of them stepped into the secret passage, they heard a roar in the air, followed by Yun Ruoyan's angry shout. "Give me back my child." The second elder was shocked, but the Holy Maiden and Zhou Yifeng were happy. Taking advantage of the second elder's shock, Zhou Yifeng suddenly rushed towards him and stretched out his hand to Li Yan in the second elder's arms. However, although the second elder looked listless, his reaction was extremely fast. He turned around and showed his back to Zhou Yifeng. At the same time, the spiritual power on his body flowed out of his body. As soon as Zhou Yifeng saw this, he immediately clenched his hand and hit the second elder's back. The second elder's cultivation was far higher than Zhou Yifeng's. In addition, Zhou Yifeng's body hadn't fully recovered, so he was directly bounced back by the spiritual power. As he spat out a mouthful of blood, his body was also bounced out of the secret passage, and the door of the secret passage was completely closed at this time. At this moment, the closed door of the sacred hall was just knocked open by Xiao. Yun Ruoyan saw Zhou Yifeng flying in the air and immediately asked Xiao to catch him. Zhou Yifeng, how are you? Yun Ruoyan saw Zhou Yifeng's pale face and immediately took out an elixir for him. The secret passage. After Zhou Yifeng swallowed the elixir, he hurriedly pointed to the entrance of the secret passage and said, Li Yan has been brought into the secret passage. They want him to be the eye of some blood array. Chapter 486. As soon as Yun Ruoyan heard Zhou Yifeng's words, her eyes glinted sharply in the direction of the altar. Protect the altar. The guards immediately formed a human barricade around Yun Ruoyan and Zhou Yifeng. Out of the way. Yun Ruoyan stood up and released all of her cultivation. Her long black hair and silvery white robes fluttered in the wind, and her originally pitch-black eyes glowed a scarlet red. Mistress, you've broken through to the 4th rank. Xiao exclaimed excitedly, its fur turning even redder. Xiao and Yun Ruoyan were bonded by contract, and Yun Ruoyan's cultivation would directly affect Xiao. Yes. Yun Ruoyan nodded calmly, then reached out to Yin Xiao, who was lying on the ground. A suction force sucked Yin Xiao into her palm. All of you out of the way or I'll kill him right now, Yun Ruoyan ordered. Out of the way. Yin Xiao's neck was in Yun Ruoyan's hand and his face was bright red. He tried his best to stretch his neck and yell, out of the way. However, the warriors remained unmoved and said, Young master, the great elder said that no matter what happens, the sacred hall must not be allowed to enter. If you don't get out of the way, she'll kill me and father won't forgive you when he returns. One of the guards replied coldly, the first elder said that if you become a hostage, he'll give you a quick death. As soon as he finished speaking, a flying arrow shot out and pierced through Yin Xiao's chest, killing him on the spot. Yin Xiao stared at the person who had shot the arrow, his eyes wide open. Even in death, he refused to believe that this was an order from his father, the first elder of the Silver Dragons. What a crazy old monster. As soon as Yun Ruoyan let go, Yin Xiao's body crumpled to the ground like a pile of mud. Mistress, we can't waste any more time. The young mistress can't wait any longer, Xiao said, its feet moving forward, ready to start a massacre. All right, let's attack together. As Yun Ruoyan spoke, she stretched out her arms and spread out her palms. Countless small sparks rose from her palms. Xiao, on the other hand, opened its mouth wide and spat out a scarlet fire dragon. Those warriors were not to be trifled with. They immediately took out their silver shields to block the crimson fire dragon. Xiao was unable to break through for a while. Xiao, get out of the way, Yun Ruoyan's voice rang out. Xiao stopped spewing fire and moved to the side. Yun Ruoyan took a step forward and the sparks on her hand jumped up and down. Go! Yun Ruoyan threw all the sparks in her hands in the direction of the shrine. The guards had just relaxed for a moment when Xiao stopped attacking, but before they could relax, they heard an explosion in their ears. All the shield-wielding warriors felt a sharp pain in their hands, and a dazzling light flashed in front of their eyes. By the time they reacted and opened their eyes, they saw that the shields in their hands had been roasted red by the flames, and their arms had been scorched black by the high temperature. Ah! Cries of pain rang out one after another. Mistress, your cultivation has reached the 5th rank of the Sword Saint realm. Xiao exclaimed in surprise. Ruoyan. Zhou Yifeng stared at Yun Ruoyan in shock, speechless. Yun Ruoyan had always been like this. The more critical the situation, the more likely she was to make a breakthrough. But after reaching the peak of the Sword Saint realm, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to not advance a single level. Breaking through 2 levels in such a short period of time was almost unprecedented. Yun Ruoyan didn't seem to hear the exclamations around her. She walked up to the shrine, clasped her hands together and slowly opened them. Countless sparks appeared between her palms. Then Yun Ruoyan suddenly slammed both palms on the shrine. Boom! A large hole appeared in the shrine, and the countless tablets were blown away, revealing the entrance to the secret passageway. Xiao, let's go. Yun Ruoyan walked into the passageway first, with Xiao and Zhou Yifeng following behind her. In the underground cavern, the second elder pointed his sword at the holy maiden. Quick, open the blood array. The second elder's calm old face finally showed urgency. Put the child into the eye of the array quick. Second elder, aren't you afraid of retribution? The gods and Buddhas are watching. The holy maiden said. If the heavens want retribution, it'll be on the first elder's head. What does it have to do with me? I'm only acting according to the first elder's orders. The second elder laughed sinisterly. This child is an excellent material for refining supreme-grade holy water. If the holy water is successfully refined, both you and I will benefit. Don't be stubborn and force me to use force on you. After saying that, the second elder pressed the sword in his hand against the saintess' neck. Blood flowed out from the wound on the saintess' neck. Holy maiden, don't be foolish. Don't sacrifice your life for someone who has little to do with you. Remember your place. You're the holy maiden of the Silver Dragon clan. The second elder threatened her with force and tried to tempt her with words. At the same time, he stared at the holy maiden with an enchanting gaze. Holy maiden, look at me. Although this blood array is sinister, it's still an ancient array passed down by our Silver Dragon clan. It's something left behind by our ancestors. What we need to do now is to strengthen the Silver Dragon clan. As the holy maiden of the Silver Dragon clan, you should fulfill your responsibility. Even if it goes against the heavens, it's still your duty. Quick, put the child into the blood array's eye. I can't. The holy maiden tried to control her mind, but the second elder gradually couldn't resist the second elder's illusions. I'm the holy maiden of the Silver Dragon clan. I have to fulfill my duty. As you're the holy maiden, you have to fulfill your duty. Under the second elder's persuasion, the holy maiden's psychological defenses were finally broken. She blankly activated the blood array. The dragons sleeping in the blood array were suddenly awakened. Normally, blood would only be extracted once every half a year, but in just a short month, the blood array was once again activated. The demon dragon clansmen who were imprisoned in the blood array all became restless and restless. If blood was extracted once every 6 months, some of them would still have time to recover. However, if blood was extracted frequently, then all of their blood would be sucked dry in no time. You don't have to be afraid. The second elder comforted them. I'm not here to extract your blood today. I'm here to give you a companion. As he spoke, he lifted Li Yan in front of the giant blood stone. Instinctively, Li Yan started to struggle and cry out loud. The dragon in the eye of the blood formation was greatly shocked. The words that the great elder had said to him the last time he had extracted blood echoed in his ears. Your little grandson has both the demonic dragon and silver dragon bloodlines. He's the perfect material to refine holy water. I'm trying my best to catch him. Once I catch him, I'll have him accompany you. You won't be lonely then. Could it be that this child is my grandson? The dragon murmured. If that's the case, we can't let him enter the blood array. Outside the blood array, under the second elder's constant urging, the holy maiden began to change her hand seals. The eye of the array was slowly opening. At the same time, a pillar of light formed between the eye and the holy maiden's hand seals. Wonderful. We're about to succeed. The second elder exclaimed excitedly. He then placed Li Yan in the pillar of light. Brothers. The silver dragon's voice suddenly sounded in the minds of those trapped on the giant stone. This child is my bloodline from the Qinyuan continent. I hope you can help me save his life. I, the Silver Dragon, am eternally grateful. Since he's of Brother Silver Dragon's bloodline, then he's also of the demonic dragon clan. We'll naturally be saved. What do you say? Of course we'll save him. At worst we'll risk our lives. That's right. I've had enough of all these years of torture. At worst we'll risk our lives. Alright, if he dies, then he dies. Everyone, let's save this child together. Don't let the silver dragons get their way. The crowd echoed in agreement. Li Yan had already been sent into the eye of the array by the pillar of light, but a sudden repulsive force came from the blood array. What's going on? The second elder asked, puzzled. Where's that old monster, the silver dragon? While resisting the power of the holy maiden's seal with everyone else's remaining cultivation, Long Yin shouted at the second elder. He dares to harm a descendant of the silver dragon bloodline. We won't let him get away with it even if we have to risk our lives. Under the intensification of the two forces, many more people on the giant stone were reduced to ashes. Holy maiden, don't worry about him. Keep casting the spell, the second elder urged. Just then, a woman's explosive voice sounded from behind the second elder. Return the child to me and I'll leave your corpse intact. The second elder turned around and saw a man, a woman, and a spiritual beast that looked like a fiery lion standing 10 feet away from him. Who are you? The second elder asked, not recognizing Yun Ruoyan. Return the child to me. Yun Ruoyan didn't answer his question. Instead she walked forward step by step. The aura of her powerful cultivation made her look very intimidating. Stop! The second elder shouted. He pushed the saintess aside with one hand and pulled Li Yan into his arms with the other. If you come any closer, I'll kill this child. If you dare touch a hair on my child, I'll flatten the dragon castle. Yun Ruoyan's low voice was full of murderous intent. Little Li Yan was looking at her with a pair of watery eyes. At the same time he stretched out his 2 little hands toward her and called out, "Mother, mother." Seeing this scene, Yun Ruoyan's heart was filled with pain and anger. Murderous intent surged in her chest. I won't touch your child and you won't come any closer. As the second elder spoke, he retreated. When he reached the stone wall, he clasped his hand against it and another exit appeared. Just as the second elder was about to retreat into the cave with Li Yan in his arms, a sharp arrow pierced through the air, leaving a trail of flames in its wake as it flew toward the second elder. Before the second elder could even let out a cry of pain, the arrow had already pierced through his head and pinned him to the stone wall. Chapter 487. After shooting the arrow, Zhou Yifeng felt as if all the energy in his body had left him. He used his bow to prop himself against the ground and struggled to stand. Yun Ruoyan turned back to look at Zhou Yifeng, then flew over to the second elder's side and took Li Yan back into her arms. Yun Ruoyan hugged Li Yan tightly in her arms. Only after a long while did she remember to check if Li Yan was injured. Thankfully, there weren't any signs of injury on his body. It's all my fault. I wasn't able to protect you properly. Yun Ruoyan blamed herself as she looked at the tear-streaked Li Yan. Because Li Yan had returned to his mother's embrace, although tears still hung on his face, he smiled widely at Yun Ruoyan. Yun Ruoyan looked at her son's radiant smile and couldn't help but smile as well. Just as the two of them were rejoicing, a low but excited voice rang out. Are you my daughter Long Yener? Long Yener's voice came from within the stone pillar. Yun Ruoyan turned around with Li Yan in her arms and stared at the blood-red pillar. At the very top of the pillar she could vaguely make out a human figure. I'm Long Yener and my mother is Lin Yueme. Father, I finally found you. You're my daughter Yen. Long Yen laughed loudly, his voice growing louder and louder. His laughter reverberated throughout the underground cavern, and all the repressed emotions of being imprisoned for decades melted into his laughter. Brother Long, is your daughter here to save you? Someone on the stone pillar asked Long Yen. If your daughter saves you, will we be saved as well? That's right. Your daughter's cultivation isn't weak and she might really be able to save all of us. I didn't think that we'd have a chance of making it out alive. The other members of the dragon clan who were trapped in the blood array were just as excited as Long Yin. Can you save us all? Long Yen stopped laughing and turned to Yun Ruoyan worriedly. Yun Ruoyan's cultivation wasn't low, but a blood formation couldn't be broken by a high cultivation alone. There were other conditions that had to be met. Father, I will get you out of here right now. It hadn't been easy for her to find her father, and no matter what price she had to pay, she was determined to rescue Long Yin from this hellish place. Yun Ruoyan handed Li Yan to Zhou Yifeng. Although Zhou Yifeng was a little weak at the moment, he still had no problem carrying a child. Zhou Yifeng retreated to the side with Li Yan in his arms. Chirp chirp, let's attack together. Yun Ruoyan turned to Xianxia. She spread out her hands and once more condensed countless small sparks, and Xianxia slowly opened its mouth and began to gather flames. Go! Yun Ruoyan shot the fireball in her hand in the direction of the pillar of fire. At the same time Xianxia did the same. However, even after a long while, under the intense attacks of Yun Ruoyan and Xianxia's fire elemental spiritual energy, the blood formation didn't show any signs of cracking or damage. No, master, Xianxia said. Yun Ruoyan also realized that her powerful Mars energy had no effect on the blood formation, and she couldn't help but frown. You won't be able to destroy the blood array like this. The holy maiden, who had fainted to the side, slowly regained consciousness. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw that Yun Ruoyan was attacking the blood formation, but it was clear that it had no effect. Yun Ruoyan retracted her hand, turned her head, and looked straight at the holy maiden with a pair of large, cold eyes. This was the first time that the holy maiden had seen Yun Ruoyan's face, and she couldn't help but be stunned. A girl who had accompanied her for more than a month had suddenly appeared in front of her with a different kind of beauty. It was impossible for the holy maiden not to be stunned. "You're Yun?" the holy maiden asked, a little uncertain. The corners of Yun Ruoyan's lips curled up slightly, and she made her expression appear gentler. She then extended a hand to the holy maiden and said softly, "Holy maiden, I'm Yun. My other name is Long Yenner, and I'm the person in the eye of the blood formation, the daughter of Long Yin. One of the reasons I've come to the extreme abyss continent and entered the dragon castle is to rescue my father. Holy maiden, do you have a solution?" The holy maiden took Yun Ruoyan's hand and stood up. She then turned to the stone pillar and said, "This blood formation is an ancient formation passed down by the silver dragons since ancient times. Not just anyone can activate or destroy it." "Holy maiden," Yun Ruoyan hurriedly said, "then you must have a solution. If you can activate the blood formation, then you must be able to destroy it." The holy maiden shook her head. "Although I have the ability to activate the veins of the dragon, I don't have the ability to destroy it. Even the first elder might not be able to destroy it. If you don't destroy it, can you release the people imprisoned by the blood formation and return them their freedom?" Yun Ruoyan thought for a moment. Of course, it would be best if she could destroy it, but if she couldn't, she could settle for the next best thing and release all the people trapped within. "Yes, but only the second elder can do so," the holy maiden replied. "The second elder was the one who sent these people into the blood formation, so he's the only one who can release them. After all, he's the only one who knows the incantation to release them." Yun Ruoyan learned from the holy maiden that it was indeed impossible to rescue Long Yin, so she said, "Father, Silver Dragon has already started a battle with our men outside Silver Dragon City. Let me capture him with the others, then we'll come back to save you." "All right, go," Long Yin said. "I'll be waiting for your return." When Yun Ruoyan and the others walked out of the sacred hall, they were surrounded by dozens of dragon castle guards. All of them had weapons in their hands and were glaring at them like tigers eyeing their prey. Yun Ruoyan and Xianxia were just about to unleash their techniques when the holy maiden stepped forward and blocked their way. "Yun, don't," the holy maiden hurriedly said. "They're just some ordinary warriors and they're only following the first elder's orders. Let me talk to them." Without the elders present, the holy maiden had the highest status in Dragon Castle. Under the holy maiden's orders, the guards didn't attack Yun Ruoyan and the others. The holy maiden also learned from the captain of the guards that, except for those present, all the other warriors in Dragon Castle had been transferred out of Silver Dragon City by the elders. There's a group of warriors in Dragon Castle. Under normal circumstances they wouldn't be mobilized, but this time, they've been transferred by the first elder, the holy maiden said to Yun Ruoyan. The holy maiden said to Yun Ruoyan. Her tone was very worried. After this incident, the holy maiden and the great elder could be considered as opposing each other. Whether Yun Ruoyan's side could defeat the great elder would directly affect the holy maiden's future. She was truly worried that Yun Ruoyan's side would be outnumbered. "If nothing unexpected happens, our reinforcements should be arriving soon," Yun Ruoyan said. "You have reinforcements?" the holy maiden asked in surprise. Yun Ruoyan didn't directly answer her question. Instead, she looked at her and said, "Don't worry, no matter what the outcome is, we won't abandon our allies." Yun Ruoyan had Zhou Yifeng take the holy maiden and Li Yan to the courtyard of the demonic bandits, while she and Qiuqiu headed toward the outskirts of Silver Dragon City. The demon spirit and the Silver Dragon First Elder were still engaged in a fierce battle, as were the members of the demonic bandits, Li Mo, and an endless stream of Silver Dragon guards. The demon spirit's cultivation had originally been higher than the First Elder's, but his primordial spirit had been sealed for the past 10,000 years, and his cultivation had stagnated. Although the First Elder's cultivation hadn't improved much, he had surpassed the demon spirits. In a short battle, the demon spirit was still able to fight on par with the Silver Dragon, but as the battle dragged on, he was gradually losing ground. On the other hand, the demonic bandits and Li Mo were facing the Silver Dragon guards. These guards seemed to be endless, and after killing one group, another would appear out of nowhere. Many members of the demonic bandits had already been killed or injured. If not for Li Mo's presence, the casualties would have been even greater. As a result, when Yun Ruoyan rushed back on Xiao, everyone was overjoyed. Yun Ruoyan's aura gave off a very strong feeling. Yun Ruoyan immediately spotted Li Mo, who was fighting in the middle of the crowd, and rushed toward him on Xiao. At this moment, Li Mo and Huang Chuan were standing back to back, defending against the spiritual energy attacks coming from all directions. Countless ice swords, frost vines, and fireballs rained down on Li Mo, Huang Chuan, and the others without a moment's pause. These Silver Dragon warriors were all at least at the pinnacle of the Silver Dragon realm, and even an expert like Li Mo would find it a little difficult to deal with their combined attacks. Li Mo. Yun Ruoyan called out to him from afar. Yen Li Mo responded. Their eyes met and they immediately sensed each other telepathically. Brother, protect yourself with a barrier of spiritual energy. As Li Mo spoke to Huang Chuan, a barrier of spiritual energy formed around his body, and a blanket of flames engulfed everything around them. Xiao was like a fire-breathing demon, mercilessly spewing flames that could melt most weapons at the Silver Dragon warriors below. At the same time, Yun Ruoyan added the power of her own sparks to Xiao's flames, creating an even more powerful explosion. A large number of Silver Dragon warriors let out blood-curdling screams amidst the flames and explosions. Those with slightly lower cultivation bases were directly roasted into dried corpses and turned into ashes. What a powerful lass. The Silver Dragon couldn't help but frown. At this rate, no matter how many warriors he had, they wouldn't be able to keep up with Yun Ruoyan and her spiritual beast. Silver Dragon, old monster, you'd better surrender. Otherwise you'll be completely annihilated. Demon Spirit seized the opportunity to attack Silver Dragon while he got a chance to breathe. You're far too early to think that I'll surrender. The Silver Dragon snorted. With a flip of his hand he took out a round ball, within which was a white dragon-shaped object. Not only can this pearl of mine be used to tame silver dragons, but it can also speed up their growth. The Silver Dragon looked at the dragon in his hand passionately and murmured to himself, "For the future of our Silver Dragon tribe, go." He tossed the pearl into the air. Chapter 488. The dragon pearl spun in the air, then glowed with a blinding white light. A moment later, the crowd saw a silver dragon emerge from the white light. Its body was so large that it blocked out the sun. The Silver Dragon Great Elder stretched out his hand and the dragon pearl returned to his hand. He then ordered the Silver Dragon, "Go, extinguish the fire." The dragon looked at the first elder with its large eyes, then nodded its head slightly. It opened its mouth and shot out a huge column of water, splashing it on the flames surrounding the Silver Dragon warriors. The flames quickly dwindled and died out. "Mistress, what's that?" Xiao looked at the Silver Dragon not far away from them and said in a serious tone, "The Silver Dragons should have all gone extinct. Where did this dragon come from?" Yun Ruoyan frowned and narrowed her eyes as she stared at the dragon. The dragon's large eyes happened to be looking at Yun Ruoyan as well. Yun Ruoyan could see a hint of familiarity in those eyes, and she cursed inwardly. "If I'm not mistaken, that dragon is Whitey," Yun Ruoyan murmured. "Yen'er was captured by the Silver Dragon, and I'm sure Whitey won't be able to escape either." Li Mo walked up to Yun Ruoyan's side. "But I don't know how the Silver Dragon did it, but Whitey's clearly under his control. By the way, how's Yen'er?" Li Mo looked at Yun Ruoyan. Although he hadn't asked about Li Yan's condition, he could tell from a glance that Li Yan was no longer in danger. "Yen'er's safe," Yun Ruoyan replied. "I've had the Holy Maiden and Zhui Yifeng bring him to the demonic faction's courtyard, and we'll bring him home after we defeat the Silver Dragon. And my father, he's also waiting for us to subdue the Silver Dragon before we can rescue him from the Blood Array." Yun Ruoyan turned to Li Mo. "Whether or not our family will be reunited depends on this battle." Li Mo squeezed Yun Ruoyan's hand. Our family will definitely be reunited. Brother Li, Madam Li, come help." Huang Chuan called out anxiously. Once the fire was extinguished, the Silver Dragon warriors immediately began their counterattack, and the demonic faction was quickly surrounded once more. Huang Chuan's voice attracted not only Yun Ruoyan's and Li Mo's attention, but also Whitey's. Whitey's large eyes immediately locked onto Huang Chuan's position, and it opened its mouth and spat out a column of water. Qiu. Yun Ruoyan hurriedly called out and Qiu flew toward Whitey. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Huang Chuan and the others. It opened its mouth and all the water shot into Qiu's mouth. A column of water was swallowed by Qiu. Although it didn't have the ability to spit out water, it had a stomach that could digest spiritual tools, so swallowing some water into its stomach was not a problem. Qiu burped and smiled at Whitey. Little white snake, long time no see. Let me play with you. Qiu bared its sharp claws and pounced toward Whitey. Yun Ruoyan's voice rang out. Qiu, Whitey's being controlled by the first elder of the silver dragons. Just subdue it but don't harm its life. Mistress, I know what I'm doing. Whitey's Xiao Lian's contracted spiritual beast and I'll spare its life. Because Qiu's attacks were so fierce and powerful, Whitey was quickly forced to retreat far away, and the two sides began to fight. Whitey wasn't Qiu's match, but the most frightening aspect of a battle was the need to know when to stop. If Qiu didn't have to, it could easily injure or kill Whitey. However, it couldn't kill or injure Whitey, so all it could do was trap Whitey and wait until it ran out of spiritual energy. In the distance, the crowd saw two powerful spiritual beasts, one spitting fire, the other spitting water. The fire and water columns collided and they continued to fight for a long time. More than half of Huang Chuan's group had been killed or injured by the silver dragons. Just as Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo were about to rush over to help, they discovered that the demon spirit was beginning to show signs of defeat. Ignoring Huang Chuan's group, the two of them immediately rushed over to the demon spirit's side to help. You've come at the right time. This old monster is too powerful and I'm no longer his match. After such a long battle, the demon spirit was running out of spiritual energy. When will your reinforcements arrive? Should be soon, Li Mo replied. As he spoke, he and Yun Ruoyan fought against the silver dragon's spiritual energy. The silver dragon didn't have a physical weapon in its hands. Instead, it seemed to be an invisible weapon formed from its own spiritual energy. When Yun Ruoyan's scarlet eye slashed at the silver dragon, the invisible weapon suddenly morphed into a long, shapeless whip that created a small vortex in the air, sucking the sword energy into it. Then the shapeless sword wrapped itself around the scarlet eye in Yun Ruoyan's hand. Yun Ruoyan felt a strong force fighting for the scarlet eye in her hand. Seeing this, Li Mo immediately tried to hack away at the sword with his azure sword, but to no avail. As the scarlet eye slowly left Yun Ruoyan's hand, Li Mo frowned and thrust his sword at the silver dragon. Li Mo's move was extremely dangerous, as he was sending himself right into the enemy's claws. Especially when there was such a huge disparity in strength between the two sides, it was almost as if he were committing suicide. Even Yun Ruo was taken aback by Li Mo's sudden action. Li Mo, don't. She cried out involuntarily. Although Li Mo's move was extremely dangerous, it was also very unexpected and effective. The silver dragon immediately loosened its grip on Yun Ruoyan and began to defend itself. However, Li Mo's lightning-fast speed, coupled with his sneak attack, pierced through the first elder's chest as quickly as lightning. The first elder let out a pained groan as he slapped Li Mo's shoulder, sending him flying backward. At the same time he spat out a mouthful of blood. Li Mo. Yun Ruoyan's heart ached as she rushed forward to catch Li Mo. Li Mo, are you all right? Yun Ruoyan wiped the blood from Li Mo's mouth, her voice trembling. I'm fine. Li Mo opened his eyes and forced a smile. He raised his arm, which had been badly mutilated by the silver dragon's attack. Thankfully, I managed to dragonize and strengthen my body in time. Otherwise, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to keep this arm. The scales on Li Mo's dragonized arm had been shattered by the force of the blow, and it was a frightening sight to behold. However, just as Li Mo had said, it was only a superficial wound. The silver dragons didn't have the strong regenerative abilities of the demonic dragons, so Li Mo's wound wouldn't heal in a short period of time. Do you think you can kill me just like that? The silver dragon's laughter rang out, and both Li Mo and Yun Ruoyan looked in his direction. Just now, the silver dragon's chest had been pierced by Li Mo's azure sword. Under normal circumstances, such a wound would have been fatal if not fatal. The two of them watched as the silver dragon calmly took out a jade bottle and poured the liquid within it into his mouth. After swallowing the liquid, The wound on his chest healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Ha, as long as I have this holy water, you won't be able to kill me, ha. The silver dragon threw his head back and laughed, his arrogant laughter echoing through the heavens. Suddenly he stopped and looked at Yunruoyan with a burning gaze. This holy water is all extracted from the blood of demonic dragons, including your father. Right now, this blood has made my body immortal and indestructible. When I deal with you all, I'll take all of you who have the bloodline of the demon dragon into my hands as a silver dragon. I'll turn you all into my alchemy materials. I'll make the silver dragon clan the only ruler of this world, ha. Yunruoyan, your father, you and your children will all become my pill refining materials in the future. Haha, this is your fate, the fate of the demonic dragons. As Yunruoyan listened to the silver dragon's words, she clenched her fists tightly, the demonic dragon bloodline in her body surging wildly. She stood up and declared to the silver dragon, all of your sins will be punished here. I, Yunruoyan, will represent the entire demonic dragon clan in exacting vengeance from you. What an arrogant girl, the silver dragon sneered. The silver dragon looked at Yunruoyan disdainfully. Even your father wasn't as arrogant as you back then. But even if you're so arrogant, I'll still let your family reunite in my blood array, ha. The silver dragon threw his head back and laughed, and the dragon pearl in his hand glowed brightly. Yunruoyan's gaze landed on the pearl and she turned to look at Xianxia and Whitey, who were still locked in combat. She quickly came up with a plan. Liamo, lend me your azure sword, Yunruoyan instructed. After piercing through the silver dragon's chest, the azure sword had returned to Liamo's body. You have to be careful. Liamo handed the sword to Yunruoyan, but his tone was uneasy. Yenner's still waiting for us. Don't worry, I want to see the silver dragon die in front of me, and pay the price for what he's done. Yunruoyan took the sword from Liamo and made a hand seal. Without looking back, she sent the sword flying in the direction of the silver dragon. Using the same sneak attack twice. What a joke. The silver dragon elder stretched out his hand and clawed at the Xian light sword. However, just as the Xian light sword was about to fall into his hand, another scarlet sword light and its clansman appeared in front of him at lightning speed. Yunruoyan's sword was aimed directly at the silver dragon's head. Once it was pierced through, even a god wouldn't be able to revive him. The silver dragon had no other choice but to use his other hand to block the attack. With a crisp crack, the dragon pearl in silver dragon's hand pressed against the tip of Qi Tong's sword. Then several fine lines broke apart with the tip of the sword as the center. A dazzling white light overflowed from the dragon pearl and quickly dissipated. At this moment, Little White, who had been fighting with Xianxia, suddenly stopped its attacks. There was a moment of confusion in its eyes. Then, as if it had thought of something, raging flames burned in its eyes. It turned its huge head and glared at the silver dragon first elder. Chapter 489. Yunruoyan's sneak attack had succeeded, and she retreated immediately. The silver dragon held the remnants of the dragon pearl in his hand, glaring at Yunruoyan with fiery eyes. However, Yunruoyan turned to Whitey and called out, "Whitey, how is it? Do you still recognize me?" Whitey nodded slowly at Yunruoyan. "You're awake? Then we don't have to fight anymore?" Xianxia asked Whitey, who turned back to Xianxia and snorted loudly in response. "All right, since we don't have to fight anymore, let's fight side by side," Xianxia said. Whitey snorted loudly again. A dragon and a qilin appeared by Yunruoyan's side, facing off against the silver dragon elder. "Silver dragon, I told you that I'd make you pay for what you've done today." Yunruoyan pointed the scarlet eye at the silver dragon. At the same time, the other sword in her hand let out a buzzing sound as if it had sensed something. "Just the two of you alone aren't enough." The silver dragon loosened his grip, and the dragon pearl in his hand scattered in the wind. The treasure of the silver dragon clan had been completely destroyed, but the silver dragon didn't seem to feel any heartache. In fact, he even smiled. "Do you know why your father was able to become the eye of the formation?" Yunruoyan didn't know what the silver dragon was getting at, so she didn't respond. The silver dragon answered his own question. "Because his cultivation was relatively high. When I captured him, he had just broken through to the Sword Saint realm. You have to know that it's rare for someone to break through to the Sword Saint realm on a low-level continent like the Qinyuan continent, but your father managed to do it." The silver dragon's tone was one of admiration. The higher the cultivation, the higher the rate at which the demonic dragon bloodline is awakened. As a result, his blood is more precious than that of the average demonic dragon, and he can become the eye of the formation. Although your son doesn't have much of a cultivation, he has both the demonic and silver dragon bloodlines, so he can naturally become the eye of the formation. However, he's still too young and he doesn't have enough blood. But today, to my surprise, I discovered someone more suitable than either of them. That person is you, Yun Ruoyan. The silver dragon pointed a finger at Yun Ruoyan. I can see that your cultivation has already reached the 5th rank of a sword saint. You'd be at the pinnacle of any continent, whether you're on a low-tier or high-tier continent. The extent to which your demonic dragon bloodline has awakened has definitely far exceeded that of your father. This kind of body is really suitable to be the core of my blood array, ha. In your dreams, Yun Ruoyan replied coldly. Whether or not I'm dreaming, you'll know soon enough. The silver dragon replied calmly, this is the extreme abyss continent, my territory. You're dreaming if you think you can defeat me and the millions of silver dragon warriors with just the few of you. As the silver dragon spoke, Yun Ruoyan looked around. Indeed, the number of silver dragon warriors surrounding them seemed to have increased. Warriors of the silver dragon clan. The silver dragon raised his arms and shouted, this is the most critical moment for us silver dragons. Kill everyone present. Leave no one alive. Yes, we will obey the great elder's orders. His voice shook the heavens and the earth, and the surviving magic bandits couldn't help but pale. Qiuqiu, how many warriors can you deal with? Yun Ruoyan asked in a low voice. A few hundred won't be a problem, Qiuqiu replied. But I have to help you deal with the silver dragon. You're no match for him alone. Have Whitey help me. You deal with those warriors. Li Mo's also injured and he needs protection, Yun Ruoyan ordered. Just as Qiuqiu was about to protest, the demon spirit's voice rang out from behind Yun Ruoyan. Wonderful. Your helpers are finally here. When Yun Maxiao left, the devil spirit gave him a piece of talisman paper. When he brought people over, as long as he ignited this talisman paper, the devil spirit would sense it. Just now, the devil spirit sensed that Yun Maxiao ignited the talisman paper, which meant that his helpers had arrived. Mistress helps here. Qiuqiu exclaimed excitedly. Li Mo stood up and walked to Yun Ruoyan's side. It's just a superficial wound. I'm fine. Yun Ruoyan glanced at Li Mo's arm, which had stopped bleeding, and nodded. She then turned to Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu, help the demonic spirit tear open a spatial rift and bring my brother and the others here. Yes, mistress, Qiuqiu agreed readily. You have helpers? The silver dragon frowned at Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo. They're just some small fries. Don't worry, First Elder. Li Mo smiled coolly. I don't care what kind of monsters they are. Kill every single one of them, the silver dragon great elder ordered again. Yes, First Elder. The silver dragon warrior's deafening voices rang out once more. On the other side, the demon spirit stretched out a pair of bony hands from the magic robe. His hands had long fingernails that glowed with a strange blue light. He grabbed at the air with his strange hands and tore it apart. A large hole immediately appeared in the space. It was as if the demon spirit had torn apart a huge piece of cloth instead of air. At the same time, Qiuqiu reached out with his claws and tore open a large piece of the void from which a person walked out. Yun Maxiao. Qiuqiu called out. Qiuqiu, how are you? Yun Maxiao asked. The battle has already begun. You've come just in time. Behind Yun Maxiao, more and more warriors walked out. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo saw Feng Yicheng, Thunderbolt Sun, and Count of the Wind. When the silver dragon warriors saw these people, they rushed forward without any hesitation and surrounded and attacked them. Both sides immediately entered an even more intense battle. Silver Dragon, let's settle our score today, Li Mo said. And me, my mother Xue Tong. I'm sure you remember her, First Elder? Only then did Li Mo reveal her name. Xue Tong is your mother? The silver dragon was a little surprised. Yes, my mother was the holy maiden who escaped from the Polaris continent to the Qinyuan continent. Her body is still in the sacred palace. And my father, the Beast King, died at your hands. Today I'm going to demand justice from you. Ha! The silver dragon threw his head back and laughed, then turned to Li Mo with a sharp gaze. No wonder you have such pure silver hair. So you've inherited the holy maiden's bloodline. Alright, since everyone is here, Then let's settle our old and new grudges together. Come at me together. Li Mo. Yun Ruoyan turned to Li Mo, looking worriedly at his injured arm. It's fine. Li Mo replied nonchalantly. At the same time, his other arm was rapidly transforming into a dragon, and his sword of azure light returned to his hand. Alright, let's kill that silver dragon together. Yun Ruoyan leaped onto Xiaoqiu's back, while Li Mo landed on Whitey's giant head. Both of them used all of their cultivation to attack the silver dragon first elder without holding anything back. At that moment, the first elder closed his eyes and formed a series of hand seals with both hands, muttering an incantation. A giant formation appeared beneath the silver dragon's feet. As the spell formation appeared, the great elder's body gradually changed. His legs turned into a dragon's tail and his hands turned into dragon's claws. His body rapidly grew larger and longer, and silver scales continuously drilled out of his body. Oh no, it's a dragonization formation. The demon spirit cried out in fear. Because of this earth-shattering scene, the fierce battle temporarily paused. Everyone turned to look at the dazzling silver formation in the sky, at the silver dragon's transformation. What's a dragonization formation? Yun Maxiao asked. Although the people of the Silver Dragon clan are descendants of the Silver Dragon clan, they cannot transform into a dragon's body unless their cultivation base reaches the peak of the Great Perfection realm. However, that is almost impossible. According to the legends, there is a forbidden magic array that can transform them into a dragon's body. That is the Dragon Transformation Array, the demon dragon explained. But it's also extremely dangerous to use it during the transformation process. If you're not careful, you'll lose your life. This silver dragon must be relying on the powerful regenerative properties of the holy water, which is why he dared to use it. Just as the demon spirit had said, the silver dragon was constantly drinking holy water during the transformation process, in order to resist the damage that the transformation would bring to his body. We can't let him transform into a dragon. Yun Ruoyan shouted at Li Mo. I'm going to stop him. Ron, it's too dangerous. I'll go, Li Mo said, and he and Whitey continued to advance toward the silver dragon. However, the impact of the formation wasn't something that Whitey, who had just grown up, could withstand. Xiaoqiu, let's go. Yun Ruoyan took off the silver bracelet on her wrist and tossed it into the air. The bracelet grew larger and Xiaoqiu jumped onto it. Yes, mistress, sit tight, Xiaoqiu replied, then stepped onto the bracelet and brought Yun Ruoyan to the center of the formation. By then, the silver dragon's transformation had reached its final stage. Its body had basically completed its transformation and only its head remained. Just then Yun Ruoyan suddenly appeared in front of him. Old monster silver dragon, die. Yun Ruoyan infused all of her spiritual energy into the scarlet eye and thrust it toward the first elder's head. The scarlet eye transformed into a streak of scarlet light that shot straight toward the first elder's head. Chapter 490. The first elder hadn't expected Yun Ruoyan to break through the formation so suddenly. Just as the sword was about to pierce his skull, he hurriedly tilted his head to the side, allowing the sword to pierce through his right eye socket and come out of it. Arg! The silver dragon grand elder let out a pained roar. At the same time, his body finally completed the final stage of dragonization. However, his huge right eye had already become a huge bloody hole. Yunruan, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you. After transforming, the silver dragon's massive body circled above Yun Ruoyan's head, and with its furious roar, even the sky began to change color. Mistress, let's retreat. Qiuqiu called out hurriedly before pulling Yun Ruoyan away. Yun Ruoyan made a grabbing motion in the air, and the scarlet eye flew back into her hand. She turned back to the silver dragon, only to see that his body was almost filling up the entire sky. Qiuqiu leaped out of the dragonization formation with Yun Ruoyan in tow, reappearing in front of the crowd. Li Mo rushed up to Yun Ruoyan on Xiao Bai's back. Li Mo's eyes scanned Yun Ruoyan from head to toe, finally landing on her abdomen. His face was full of worry and anxiety. When Yun Ruoyan had rushed into the formation, he had been so anxious that he couldn't get close to her. Yun Ruoyan naturally understood Li Mo's concern and she forced a smile. I'm fine, but we're in big trouble. Li Mo followed Yun Ruoyan's gaze to where the wind and clouds were surging. A dragon's roar could be heard from within the tumbling black clouds, causing everyone's expression to change. Even Xiao Bai couldn't help but shiver. That old monster has actually succeeded in his dragonization. I'm afraid we're all going to die by his claws this time. This sigh came from Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo's side. The demon spirit had appeared by their side at some point. By then the dragonization formation had dissipated, revealing the silver dragon's enormous body. It covered the entire sky, sending chills down everyone's spines. Haha, I will not let any of you off today. All of you can just wait to die in my hands. As the dragon spoke, it clenched its claws. Its two huge ice-blue eyes swept across the crowd. Anyone who made eye contact with it seemed to be frozen by the coldness in its eyes. Mo Ling, do you have a way to deal with him? Yun Ruoyan turned to the demon spirit and asked. The Silver Dragon Grand Elder's cultivation base was originally something that we, the Forgetful Dust, couldn't worry about. Now that he's dragon-formed, his cultivation base has increased by who knows how many times. I, the demon sovereign, am at a loss as to what to do. The demon spirit sighed. All I can do is give it my all and give myself a quick death. While they were talking, the silver dragon had already begun its attack. It opened its huge mouth and a sky full of ice arrows shot out. Yun Ruoyan, Li Mo, and the demon spirit immediately covered their bodies with spiritual energy and used their weapons to deflect the ice bolts. These ice bolts were different from normal ice bolts. Each one glowed with an icy blue light, and not only were they incredibly sharp, but they also contained spiritual energy. Very quickly, the defenses of the warriors from the Heyuan continent were breached by the ice bolts, and quite a few of them died. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo looked at the warriors in the sky and on the ground who had come to reinforce them. They couldn't help but grow anxious as they saw more and more of them dying. Feng Yicheng and Thunderbolt were still protected by the warriors around them, but they wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Is there really nothing we can do? Yun Ruoyan asked. Qiuqiu, can we launch another attack? I can't, mistress, Qiuqiu replied. I can't even get close to the silver dragon right now. I have an idea, the demon spirit suddenly said. At this time the demon spirit seemed to have thought of something and said, however, this method is too mysterious. I'm afraid it won't work. Demon spirit, what idea do you have? Hurry up and tell us. Yun Ruoyan hurriedly urged. Demon spirit, Li Mo added. Even if it's a hopeless situation, it's better than sitting here and waiting for death. Alright. In that case I'll tell you. Don't the two of you have dragon blood in you? Li Mo had the silver dragon bloodline, and Yun Ruoyan had the demonic dragon bloodline. When the three of them had formed an alliance, the two of them had confessed this to the demon spirit. So what? Li Mo asked. That means that the two of you can also transform into dragons through the dragonization formation, the demon spirit explained. I used to love studying all sorts of ancient formations and I secretly stole this dragonization formation to practice. Given the silver dragon's current strength, even all of us combined wouldn't be a match for him. Only if the two of you can transform into dragons and fight against him will we have a chance of victory. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo glanced at each other and said at the same time, no. Because both of them were thinking of each other at the same time. Li Mo was worried that Yun Ruoyan was pregnant, and that transforming into a dragon would be extremely damaging to her body. If she wasn't careful, she might even lose her life. If that happened, both of them would die. On the other hand, Yun Ruoyan was worried that Li Mo's silver dragon bloodline didn't have as strong a self-healing ability as hers, and they didn't have a large amount of holy water to protect their bodies. Li Mo wouldn't be able to withstand the torment of the transformation. The demon spirit knew that the two of them were deeply in love with each other, and he expected that they wouldn't agree. This is the only solution I can think of. If it doesn't work, then we'll just have to resign ourselves to fate. Demon spirit, your idea might work, Li Mo replied. But it won't be just the two of us, it'll be just me. Li Mo, you can't go. I'll go. Yun Ruoyan interjected. There's not enough time, the demon spirit said anxiously. What should we do? Hurry up and make a decision or we'll all be wiped out. As the silver dragon's ice arrows became more and more concentrated and powerful, the samurai began to suffer more and more casualties. Even the demon spirit was beginning to feel a little overwhelmed, but the silver dragon was like a bottomless pit, capable of shooting out an endless stream of ice arrows until everyone was riddled with holes, until the entire world was sealed in ice. Listen to me. Li Mo's tone was heavy and commanding. Ever since they had gotten married, he had never spoken to Yun Ruoyan in such a tone. You're pregnant now and I can't let anything happen to you. What if something happens to you? Yun Ruoyan countered. What about me and the child? Li Mo was stunned by Yun Ruoyan's question. Do you remember what I once said to you? No matter where we are, no matter where we go, we'll be together. Even if we die, we'll be together. Yun Ruoyan looked at Li Mo, her eyes burning with passion. Alright. Whether we live or die, we'll be together. Li Mo extended his hand toward Yun Ruoyan, and the two of them clasped hands tightly. Let's begin, demon spirit. Yun Ruoyan called out to the demon spirit. The demon spirit immediately began setting up a dragonization formation, while Yun Ruoyan ordered Xiao and Whitey to stand guard by her side. Silver light flashed and the clouds began to churn, enveloping Li Mo and Yun Ruoyan within. The silver dragon was alarmed by the commotion, and when it looked over, its eyes widened in shock. It immediately stopped shooting ice arrows and swam toward them, waving its massive tail. Xiao and Whitey immediately went up to meet it. Xiao spat flames at the silver dragon. Whitey was only 1/5 the size of the silver dragon, and it nimbly circled around the silver dragon, leaving claw marks on its body. You two little things, are you tired of living? The silver dragon was enraged and grabbed Whitey with its huge dragon claws. Then it exerted force with its 4 claws and tore Whitey's body into 2 pieces. Whitey let out a painful howl. Whitey! Xiao cried out anxiously, pouncing toward the silver dragon's claws. The silver dragon's claws were caught in Xiao's mouth, and the pain caused it to loosen its grip. The 2 halves of Whitey's body were flung to the ground by the silver dragon. The silver dragon opened its massive mouth and bit at Xiao. Xiao dodged the silver dragon's sharp teeth, but not its claws. The dragon's sharp claws gripped Xiao's waist tightly. Xiao grunted and struggled, but the dragon's claws only tightened. Xiao's skin was incredibly tough, and although the silver dragon's claws couldn't damage its skin, they were slowly destroying its insides. Bright red blood flowed from Xiao's mouth, and the light in its eyes grew dimmer and dimmer. Finally it closed its eyes. Mistress Xiao can't hold on any longer. You must take care of yourself. You 2 useless little things, ha! Soon it'll be your master's turn. The silver dragon flung Xiao far away as if it were trash. Within the dragonization formation, both Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo were undergoing a metamorphosis, and the metamorphosis brought with it a great deal of pain. Yun Ruoyan's demonic dragon blood had an incredible self-healing ability, but Li Mo could only grit his teeth and endure the pain brought about by the transformation. Yun Ruoyan, Li Mo, and the demonic spirit, the 3 of you can die together. The silver dragon's claws reached into the formation and then it began to stir. If the transformation wasn't completed halfway, Yun Ruoyan, Li Mo, and the formation's creator would all perish along with the formation. However, just as the silver dragon thought that it had succeeded, a dragon's roar shook the heavens. A black dragon soared into the sky from the churning black clouds. Following the birth of the black dragon was a silver dragon. He followed the black dragon into the sky and spiraled up together with it. Ah, the transformation's a success. The demonic spirit roared at the sky as he fled, leaving behind only his arrogant voice. Silver dragon, prepare to die. Chapter 491. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo, in the form of a black and a white dragon, shot through the clouds and headed straight for the silver dragon. The silver dragon was intimidated by the momentum and for a moment, it looked timid. However, in the blink of an eye, it was surrounded by Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo. Do you want to die with me? The silver dragon shouted at Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo. I just want you to pay for what you've done. Yun Ruoyan roared angrily, then exchanged a glance with Li Mo's silver dragon, and the 2 of them attacked the silver dragon together. Everyone held their breath as they stared at the 3 dragons fighting in the sky. The 3 dragons first attacked with spiritual energy. Yun Ruoyan's black dragon spat out a giant pillar of fire at the silver dragon, the flames so intense that it seemed as if they were about to set the sky ablaze. The silver dragon thrashed about in the flames, but it didn't seem to be harmed. You want to give me more credit for your insignificant skills? You're looking down on me. The silver dragon laughed wildly. Let me. Li Mo stepped in front of Yun Ruoyan and spat out a pillar of fire and water at the silver dragon. Yun Ruoyan hurriedly circled to Li Mo's side and spat out another pillar of fire at the silver dragon. "Everyone help me kill the silver dragon," Yun Moxiao shouted. His cultivation wasn't high, but thanks to Count of Feng's constant protection he had managed to escape unscathed. "Everyone who's unarmed, help me attack the silver dragon with spiritual energy." Mo Ling also issued an order. These two orders jolted all the spectating warriors out of their daze, including the Silver Dragon race, the Dark Abyss Continent's warriors and the Demon Thieves. The chaotic battle continued. Mo Ling, Count of Feng Yicheng and a few dozen other experts flew to Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo's side, attacking the Silver Dragon as well. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo's strength was already comparable to that of the Silver Dragon, and with the help of the crowd, they seemed to be gaining the upper hand. Wounds began to appear on the Silver Dragon's hard scales, and it flew into a rage. "You're all courting death." The furious voice was accompanied by a huge recoil. Everyone felt a huge surge of spiritual energy rush into their bodies and they couldn't help flying back. At the same time they swallowed blood. Clearly they were all seriously injured. Of the two, Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo suffered the greatest backlash. Blood seeped from the corners of their mouths, and their attacks were temporarily interrupted. "You guys from the lower planes only have this much ability, haha." The silver dragon stood up to everyone with an insufferably arrogant expression, and the wounds left on its body by the spirit power attacks were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Just as the silver dragon had said, he had too much holy water on him. With the protection of the holy water, almost no one could kill him. Yun Ruoyan turned to look at Li Mo. Because of the recoil, Li Mo's silver dragon form appeared very weak. She had also suffered from the recoil, but Yun Ruoyan's regenerative abilities were extremely strong, and she was almost fully recovered. "I can't let this continue. If this goes on, everyone's going to die. I have to deal a fatal blow to the silver dragon, so that he won't have a chance to use the holy water to heal himself." Yun Ruoyan glanced at Li Mo, then pounced at the silver dragon without any hesitation. Since long-range spiritual attacks wouldn't be able to kill the silver dragon, she would have to fight it head-on. As long as she didn't stop biting, the silver dragon wouldn't have a chance to drink the holy water. The black dragon bit down on the silver dragon's neck, tearing off a large chunk of its tough skin. The silver dragon's claws landed on the black dragon's abdomen, and its sharp claws tore through the skin of Yun Ruoyan's black dragon. Dragon blood rained down from the sky. Li Mo roared angrily when he saw this. Then he pounced at the silver dragon without a care in the world. Just like that, the three dragons tangled and tore at each other. This battle lasted for 3 days and nights, and all three dragons were covered in wounds. The sky was dyed red with blood. Anyone who had witnessed this battle with their own eyes would never be able to forget the horror and shock of it all. "Everyone look. The black dragon isn't going to last much longer," someone shouted. Yun Ruoyan's fight with the silver dragon had been the most intense, and she seemed to have suffered the heaviest injuries. Her entire body was dyed red and her mouth was also full of blood. Although the silver dragon's injuries weren't light, its vitality was incredible. Seeing that Yun Ruoyan wasn't in a good condition, he knew that as long as he could get rid of her, he would have a chance to use the holy water to heal himself. At this time, Yun Ruoyan's bite on his neck had clearly loosened a little. As soon as the silver dragon sensed this, it unhesitatingly let go of Yun Ruoyan's body and tried to kick her away. What it didn't expect, however, was that as soon as it loosened its grip, Yun Ruoyan in her dragon form increased the strength of her bite. The wound, which was already bleeding profusely, began to bleed even more. At the same time, Li Mo, in his silver dragon form, grabbed hold of the silver dragon's 2 large front claws, preventing him from attacking Yun Ruoyan. In the blink of an eye, the silver dragon had been subdued by Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo. "What's wrong with the black dragon? It's clearly a trap. This is great. The silver dragon can't fight back anymore. That's right. We're finally going to win." The warriors all cheered. Only the demon spirit, Count of Feng, and a few other experts continued to watch the 3 dragons tearing at each other with grave expressions. They knew that they couldn't make a conclusion until the very end. Yun Ruoyan mercilessly bit at the silver dragon's neck. A large patch of flesh had already been torn to shreds by Yun Ruoyan's bite, and fresh blood flowed out uncontrollably. The silver dragon's vitality was also gradually diminishing. Finally he slowly shed his dragon form and reverted to his human form. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo also shed their dragon forms and reverted to their human forms. All three of them had expended almost all of their spiritual energy and stamina as they plummeted to the ground. As they plummeted, however, the silver dragon First Elder suddenly opened his eyes. He took out a white jade bottle and was about to pour the holy water into his mouth. At that moment, a green sword aura sliced through the silver dragon's wrist, slicing off his hand that was holding the bottle. Before the silver dragon Great Elder could react, a scarlet sword light flew over and pierced through his heart. The silver dragon First Elder's eyes widened as he turned to look at Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo, who were plummeting to the ground with him. At this moment, the two of them were holding hands and holding their respective sword techniques. The Cyan Light Sword and the Scarlet Eye Sword seemed to be the embodiment of the two of them, emitting two rays of light, one green and one red. They flew around the two of them continuously. Scarlet Eye, go. Green Light, go. The two of them pointed their swords at the silver dragon First Elder at the same time, and the two swords pierced through his body. Amidst the rain of blood, the silver dragon First Elder, who had been proud and arrogant for tens of thousands of years, finally breathed his last. His vision was dyed red by his own blood, and in the midst of it, countless hideous faces could be seen. They bared their sharp teeth and glared at the Great Elder of the Silver Dragon clan with their empty and resentful eyes, accusing him of the persecution they had suffered and demanding blood for blood. The Silver Dragon First Elder felt as if his soul had been torn out of his body, then torn to shreds by the ghosts until it finally dissipated into dust. Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo supported each other on the green light sword. Scarlet Eye remained by their side, protecting them from any mishaps. What happened just now? Yun Ruoyan asked. Just a moment ago, when the two of them had been killing the silver dragon with arrows, the blood he had spat out had suddenly manifested as phantoms. These phantoms had suddenly materialized and devoured the silver dragon First Elder before dispersing with the wind. Could it be that he cultivated some demonic technique that caused the backlash? Li Mo asked. Oh, it's not that. The demon spirit had appeared in front of them at some point. As a ghost cultivator, he naturally knew more about evil spirits. It's probably the holy water that he drank. Holy water is refined from the blood of demonic dragons, and it contains too many vengeful spirits. The silver dragons could still be suppressed when they were alive, but now that they're on the brink of death, they'll all come out. This is karma. Not good. Yun Ruoyan's expression suddenly changed. I still need him to break the blood formation to save my father, but now... Don't panic, the demon spirit replied. Now that the silver dragon is dead, the blood formation will likely collapse on its own. Now that the silver dragon was dead, the surviving silver dragon warriors all surrendered. They were escorted directly to the silver dragon castle. Because of the holy maiden's presence, the warriors guarding the castle didn't resist, and they easily took over the castle. From start to finish, the commoners within the castle weren't affected in the slightest. Moreover, the Silver Dragon Elder had been focused on refining the holy water for tens of thousands of years, and didn't interact with the commoners at all. As a result, his death only affected the inner circle of the castle and not the rest. Yun Ruoyan, Li Mo, the holy maiden Zhou Yifeng, Feng Yicheng, and the others all entered the underground chamber of the sacred palace. By the time they entered, they found that the blood pillar had collapsed, and Long Yin and a few dozen other demonic dragons were all sitting on the ground. Staying in the blood formation for so long had left their bodies extremely weak. Father. Yun Ruoyan walked up to Long Yin's side and knelt down. I'm here to take you home. Mother's still waiting for us. Long Yin opened his eyes. There was a joyous smile on his face that had not been seen for decades. He said softly, Yen my good child. 8 months later, in the slaughtering king's manor on the Qinyuan continent, 7 or 8 midwives walked in and out, carrying out basin after basin of bloody water. Li Mo stood in the courtyard like a stone pillar, staring at the room in front of him. Yun Ruoyan was in the midst of giving birth to their second child. Because the battle a few months ago had affected the fetus, although she had been resting for more than 8 months, the child was still born more than a month late. Moreover, there was a risk of dystocia. The Lin sisters were also pacing back and forth anxiously. Li Yen was cradled in a maid's arms, her expression as solemn as Li Mo's. Yen how's my Yen Just then, a beautiful middle-aged woman who bore an 80% resemblance to Yun Ruoyan rushed into the courtyard, her face full of anxiety. She was Yun Ruoyan's mother, Lin Yueme. Yueme, wait for me. Long Yin followed behind her, almost as if he were her father. Slow down, both of you. Wait for me. Then a white-haired old man with a walking stick walked in. He looked like a grandfather. Yunlan, I told you not to come. She's my daughter. Long Yin turned back. Ruan's my daughter too, and she grew up in my arms. Have you ever hugged her? Yunlan replied bluntly. You. Long Yin was exasperated. Ah. Lin Yueme sighed, causing the two of them to stop bickering. Why did you use up all of the holy water in the first place? If you'd kept some, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Yun Ruoyan had used the holy water she had obtained from the sacred palace to revive the demonic dragons and Lin Yueme, but she had used up every drop of it. At this moment, the loud and clear cry of a baby rang out, and the noisy courtyard fell into a moment of silence. She's born, she's born. Master has a daughter. Qiu, no bigger than a dog, hopped out of the room to report the good news. Everyone in the courtyard wanted to rush into the room, but they were stopped by the midwife. Only Liemo was allowed to enter the room. Yen are you? Liemo looked at Yun Ruoyan's frail face, his heart aching for her. Liemo, I told you that the children and I will be fine, Yun Ruoyan smiled. We've already made arrangements with our friends on the Abyssal Continent. We're going to invite them to the extreme Abyss Continent for a full moon feast. All right, let's do that, Liemo said dotingly. But that place is too cold and we can't stay for long. I think the Abyssal Continent's climate is better. Really? Yun Ruoyan's eyes lit up. She had already passed on the position of head of the demonic dragons to someone else. But Empress Xuetong had been summoning Liemo from the sacred palace on the extreme Abyss Continent all this time. Mother's in charge of the dragon castle now and she doesn't need me at all, Liemo said. I've decided to bring you and my two children to settle down on the Abyssal Continent. What do you think? The Abyssal Continent's climate and spiritual energy are excellent. Yun Ruoyan smiled. In a corner of the Slaughtering King's manor, Shui Yifeng sipped from a flask of wine as he muttered to himself. Do you think I should follow my father and sister to the Abyssal Continent, or should I stay here and become a peerless master? As soon as he finished speaking, a white figure leaped up and snatched the flask from his hand, then plunged back into the water. Hey little Bai, even you dare bully me? Shui Yifeng pointed angrily at the water. Brother Zhou. A woman's voice suddenly rang out. Shui Yifeng froze, then turned around to see Lin Qingxue. She handed the flask of wine in her hand to Shui Yifeng. This is the leafless flower wine I just learned how to brew. Would you like to try it? 6 years later, in a courtyard on the Abyssal Continent, Yun Ruoyan and Li Mo's third child had just turned a month old. Congratulations on the birth of another child. Feng Yicheng toasted Yun Ruoyan and Liemo. Father, mother, we're here. The voices of a boy and a girl came from the courtyard. Li Yan and his little sister Li Yan. The two children were happily riding on Qiuqiu's back. Qiuqiu, where did you take them this time? You've spoiled her too much, Yun Ruoyan replied. Uncle Qiuqiu first took us to the Abyssal Continent to visit grandmother, then to the Qinyuan Continent to visit grandfather and grandmother. Then we returned just in time for brother's 1-month-old birthday. Here's our present, Li Yan explained, then took out a pile of presents from his spatial ring. Mind you. Not to be outdone, Yan took out a present and buried herself in it, causing the crowd to burst into laughter. Night quickly fell. Yun Ruoyan looked at her 3 sleeping children, feeling as if her entire body was enveloped in bliss. Thinking back to her previous life, she felt as if it had been a lifetime ago. For a moment she didn't even dare to close her eyes to sleep, afraid that everything would disappear the moment she woke up. Yan what's wrong? Liemo noticed Yun Ruoyan's strange behavior and asked with concern. I'm just so happy that it doesn't feel real, Yun Ruoyan murmured. Ah. Abruptly, Liemo pinned her under his body and gave her a long kiss. Is it real now? Liemo asked, panting. Yes. Yun Ruoyan nodded, blushing. Liemo, will we always be so happy? Of course, Yen. We'll be happy forever. Liemo took off the veil, leaving behind a room full of tenderness. End of story. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.